Welcome into the NW Sportscast. Levi and Drew back, and we're back for the big dumper. Cal Raleigh, 6 years, $105 million. It's a 3-year extension, Levi, that pretty much locks up the best catcher in baseball by a lot of accounts in his prime. What's your initial thoughts?
What a good thing to hear. 2 days before opening day, we get the news Cal Raleigh's going to be on the Mariners for the
Yep.
next 6 years. This is a great extension. I mean, I think this is probably a team-friendly extension because if you look at the arbitration, this is about the money he would be making in arbitration anyway, so it's not any more expensive for us now, and we get him for 3 more years. We're going to have him until he's 32 years old, I believe,
Yeah.
in 2030. So until
Which is
the end of the
about when
decade.
catchers start to duck down.
Right. Right. So I'm thinking, initially, I was thinking if you wait too long, you might have to extend him past his prime. But now we basically guarantee we're going to have him in his prime. And then once he starts to tail off, we don't necessarily have to keep him. So this is a perfect extension, I think.
Yeah, not only is it team friendly, but it also is a good deal for Cal, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, if Cal does bad these next couple of years, he's pretty much locked in. The structure right now via ESPN is in 2025, you got your $1 million salary plus the 10 million signing bonus. 2026, 11 million the second arbitration year. Then it's 12 million in the final arbitration year in 2027. And then in 28, 29, 30, and 31, it's $23 million. And then in 31, it's the 20 million with a 2 million buyout in his free agent year. So he's getting a $23 million base salary in those three free agent years that were kind of the add-on, which is, pretty good for Cal. But also you got to think I mean, this is the best catcher in baseball. He had 34 home runs last year, Levi, a gold glove. This is worth it. By all regards, this is worth it. If you're serious about not only continuing to build a pitching staff with one of the best catchers in baseball, that, by the way, is definitely having an influence on why these pitchers are so good, but also offensively, which is one of the main downsides with this team. It's like you not bringing Cal Raleigh back, in my opinion, I think is more of a crime than maybe even not bringing a guy like George Kirby or Logan Gilbert back. It's on the same tier. If not, Cal may be elevated even a little more because hitters don't want to play for the Mariners.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you lock up probably your second biggest source of offense, it's great to see. I'm glad Cal wants to stick around. You're right. It's a good deal for him because
Mhm.
if he stops hitting home runs, then he becomes a guy who just strikes out a bunch, and then he would be not worth any money. So the
Yeah, and
fact
he'd be
that
overpaid in those 28, 29, 30
yeah,
season. So,
so he's not necessarily betting on himself to break out into an MVP candidate, but he's getting himself paid. I'm proud of the guy. He came up.
yeah.
He wasn't even a top 10 prospect.
Well, do you
He was
remember our
always
first conversation about Cal, Levi? Now
I
it's kind of a full
don't
circle moment. It was at the Tacoma Rainiers
really.
stadium. It was at
Yeah.
Cheney Stadium, AAA, and we were there to watch Jared Kelenic. And we were
Right.
watching Kelenic, and it was like one of the last times Kelenic was in, AAA the first time around, not the second or third time, obviously.
Yeah.
It was the first time around when everyone thought he was going to be a superstar. And I was like, who's that catcher? And you knew like a little bit about Cal, but you didn't know a lot. We talked about him a little bit. Fast forward a little bit later into the season, younger brother of you, good friend of me, Seth Couvert,
Right.
who's made some appearances on the Sportscast way back in the heyday of NW Sportscast, got his
Yes.
bat and then got
I
it
remember
signed.
this.
So
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool memento to have an $100 million catcher's bat for Seth Coover. So maybe we got to feature that on the show. But it's cool to see a guy that, by all accounts, was not going to be this. Was he potentially going to be a backup or low end starting catcher? Maybe, but he was not going to be this top three catcher in the MLB. And now the big dumper in Seattle for 6 years. And after the whole, everything going through the Mike Zaninos of the world, like now we're finally here with Cal.
Yeah, nobody thought he was going to be able to have the power that he does. Nobody thought he was going to be able to be as consistent from both sides. He's one of the best
Right.
switch hitters in baseball. And also, nobody thought he had platinum glove potential, which is what he won
Yeah.
last year at catcher. So, I mean, the fact that he's become one of the best defensive catchers in the game, one of the best power hitting catchers in the game, one of the best switch hitting not even just catchers, one of the best switch hitters, period. Yeah, he really has been. This is a homegrown success story. I'm really pumped.
Yeah, I am. And it's obviously the offense, but you're right. The defense has been maybe the biggest surprise. And obviously, has that been helped with the pitching staff that's throwing the ball to him? Sure. But you got to give Cal his credit. You got to give him his flowers. And now, Levi, I think it shifts into a position of, okay, we have him for 6 years. Now it's even more a priority that we do not, and I say we as in the Mariners, that the Mariners do not make an effort to run him into the ground playing
Yeah.
140 games behind the plate. He should be, I understand his value behind the plate. He should be getting, in my opinion, like 110 games, 100 games, maybe even behind the plate, and then another 30 games at DH and a 20 days off days. That's kind of the split I would want. You still throw Garver back there behind the plate. You still kind of bring other guys around. That's what I would do. The last thing you want to have happen now is a 6 year contract, and now he gets hurt. And then that's the start of the downfall.
Yeah, one of the ways that the Royals have kept Salvador Perez somehow always good every year, no matter how much older he gets, is that they only have him catching about 100 games a season. They have a good backup catcher, a guy named Freddie Fermin. The Mariners can do that, right? Harry Ford's coming soon.
Yeah.
And
And,
I
and and
think
Ford
that,
could be brought onto the roster as not just a
yeah,
catcher. He could catch and which is so weird, he can also play a variety of other
play
positions
other positions. Exactly.
around the diamond. Like the fact that you can throw Harry Ford for 30 games at catcher and 30 games in the outfield and then have him be a speed runner, if in the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning, that's a great skill to have. That it almost makes Harry Ford more valuable, not less valuable. Just because you lock up Cal, I don't think that closes off a Harry Ford,
Yeah.
long term run with the Mariners.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can close the door on that at all.
Yeah. So going into the season, do you think Cal is a top five most important player for the Mariners? I would say he's around there.
I would say, I mean, it's hard because the pitchers are all, you could say the top five is your five starting
No, you
pitchers.
no, you can't. You have to put Julio in there.
You probably have to put Julio in there. I think
If
I would
Julio
say,
struggles, the season's over. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
I think I would say Cal is that fifth guy. I think I would say Julio,
Yeah.
Gilbert, Kirby, probably probably Cal actually is your fourth guy. And
Okay.
then, whoever I think we need three of our pitchers to really step up, and I think we need Julio and Cal to carry the offense.
Agreed. And there definitely is some concerns from Cal that I kind of want to address before we close out this video. Uh, he does chase a lot, he whiffs a lot, and he strikes out a lot,
Yeah.
all in the 22nd percentile or below. His squared up percent is also in the 8th percentile. So that's a lot of red. Obviously, that gets kind of counteracted by his barrel percentage being in the 96th percentile, expected slugging 88th, etc. Does that concern you at all? Because I know it concerns me a little bit that Cal, one of these years, could just strike out 40% of the time. And now all of a sudden, look, is he great behind the plate? But at the end of the day, if he hits 180, it's not going to cut it.
Yeah, concerning, yes. I think his biggest thing is he just needs to develop a little more of an eye. If he can just be, I mean, we've seen Kyle Schwarber hit 190 and still be like a 4-win player just because he walks a bunch and hits a bunch of dingers. Cal with defense can probably be a 5-win player with a 200 batting average, but he does have to probably walk a little bit more. But I think honestly, yeah, if he kind of follows that Kyle Schwarber approach, just hits a lot of home runs, gets on
Yeah.
base by walking, you can have success as a three true outcomes guy. So I think his biggest thing is just get that on base percentage up a little more.
Yeah, agreed. Once again, Cal Raleigh, 6th year, $105 million deal with the Mariners, a 3-year extension. Those final 3 years, 23, 23, 23, and then a 2031, 20 million vesting slash player option with a $2 million buyout in his free agent year. And the 3 years of arbitration are obviously still coming. But this is a great sign for a franchise that doesn't like to spend money, that doesn't like to go and do it the easy way, which is just paying players. They like to do things complicated, offensively especially.
Yeah.
This is good to lock down your hometown hero in Cal Raleigh, and maybe the most loved guy. from a fan perspective. I don't know. I think he might be approaching Julio levels.
He may already be
You
above
think?
Julio levels for the fan. I think you could
Right.
Julio is the one that everybody knows, but I
Yeah.
think for people who are actually going to games and watching
For
games, I think
Mariner
Cal might be.
fans too,
Yeah,
not
for
MLB
Mariner
fan.
fans.
Like I think MLB it's still Julio, but like
Oh yeah,
in Seattle, I think it's Cal.
for people who actually follow the team. Yeah, I think
Sure.
for the
Well,
casual
Levi,
fans,
we know
it's
some
Julio.
people that love Cal
We
that
do.
aren't
That's true.
we
Yeah,
got a friend, Gabby Miller, who big Cal fan, very random. She won the jersey giveaway at the
yeah,
stadium. Like the random like the number spins on the wheel. I didn't know if that was even a like I thought that was just a myth, but I guess they actually do give it out. Yeah, Cal
yeah,
Raleigh. Also, he has the nickname, the Big Dumper, which helps his case definitely. All
yeah.
right, guys, NW Sportscast back in action. Baseball 2 days away. How about it? Mariners right on the edge, 85, 86, 90, 80. Who knows? We got another video coming out. Over unders for everything. Wins, playoff spots, Julio Rodriguez war, etc. All that and more. So make sure to stay tuned. But for now, it's the NW Sportscaster Albaugh alongside Levi Coover saying so long.